4 organizations, and only one organization has been there. So I've seen this live in one organization only, which was a 200-year multinational bank.
Yeah.
So this is ingrained in their culture, and then everybody works very hard, and it's very high pressure. In other organizations, it's the same thing. Sometimes senior manager always talks about it because this is something that has come to the forte, and people have recognized that you can make a lot of money in cross-sell, and cross-sell is the way to go in the last 10 years, because before you used to make a lot of money on just giving loans, but now obviously, as I told you, margin compression, low rates, X, Y, Z, you need to make money from other areas. So people try it, senior management wants it. To what level are they successful? Depends upon the banks. Some banks are very successful, even local banks, even local flying banks, very successful. They make a lot of money on this area because this is an area where they get the greatest risk-weighted return on equity because they don't expend any capital, they don't give you any loans. When you give you a loan, they need to set aside capital for that loan because of the Basel III capital adequacy ratio. So when you give $100 out, you need to keep, let's say, $7 as equity you need to have to give $100 out. And then you can only give a certain amount of money out because you have a certain amount of equity. You don't have infinite equity, right? So you can't expand your balance sheet, you can't expand your leverage infinitely. So the Basel III ratios are now in some cases 10%, some cases 12% for some banks. So obviously you need to have 12% equity. So for every $100 you need to have $12 of equity in order to give that money out. So you can't give an infinite amount of money out to make as much money as possible. That's not possible, right? So you want to focus on fee. So everybody knows this. And it's not like this came through them. A confluence of circumstances came through.
Yeah.
Margin compression happened, Basel came in, people realized we can't lever to 500 times our equity, like what happened in the US banks. So all those things came in, and the obvious result was that you need to cross-sell, you need to sell as much fee products as possible, and you need to make, when you're lending money, you need to charge as higher rates as possible. So either you go into consumer lending, predatory lending, etc. All this happens, but same issue. Senior management in all of the banks will go, understands it, they will say yes. Middle management to a certain extent. Lower people on the ground, the people who do actual work, maybe they are, if they have shared targets, if they have shared goals, if they get return out of it, maybe they do. Maybe they have only a target to do maybe that guy only has a target to do lending.
Yeah. So it's just,
this is going to be something which is there. He will do it to a certain extent, but this is not his priority. He can't do what I described a scenario where the guy will say, you try to make. So there can be a situation where from a relationship, half the money that you make in a month is coming from treasury. So if you make, let's say $10,000 from a relationship, maybe $5,000 is just coming from the treasury business. This can be a scenario. There were scenarios, and that guy is so happy to do that because he's happy. Because if treasury was not there, or if trade was not there, he would only make 5,000. Now he's making 5,000 from treasury, he's making 3,000 from trade, he's making something like 13,000 from a relationship where he could only make 5,000, And that is showing in his budget, on his performance scorecard.
So to conclude, I would say, it's like every department is sharing in the importance of cross-selling.
But that's what I'm saying. Not every bank is there. This is the ideal picture. Banks are not there. Banks don't have this. Banks will have. I will only be rewarded, and I will only be judged with the amount of financing that I give out.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it. So if I'm on this relationship, maximum I can make 5,000. I will only be recognized for 5,000. I don't care about this, I don't care about that. Maybe that money is being made, maybe it's not made, but this is not my focus.
So it's more intense and
it's more
incentives.
It's more incentive. So you need to incentivize this. So there are banks, they do gamification, they run campaigns, they intensify cross-sell. There are banks that they make it a part of the culture. So there are banks, they might run a campaign on cross-sell that you do this, you get this
So is it existing in the banks, in the Islamic banks as well?
Islamic banks, it is existing. Not all, but some. This is not a bank specific thing. Most of the things we're talking about, these are the same issues from Islamic banks, same issues from conventional banks. But Islamic banks, to a certain extent, they're so behind the curve that they usually don't do this. Some do. I think maybe the largest Islamic bank in this country will do. But the other guys, I think even one of our peer banks, we started with just in Dubai, they do and then you can see that in their results. So you can see the return. So where are they today compared in let's say cross-sell? They are very far ahead in cross-sell because they gamify it, they give incentives. So they might give you monetary incentives as well. So if you sell X amount of this, see, this is sales. Any sales business is an incentive-driven business. So if you don't incentivize, you cannot incentivize it, but then you will only get X amount of performance. If you incentivize this, incentives are the big issue. Islamic banks are more, you can say, they are more conservative on incentives.
Yes, there are ethical issues. I mean, to cross-selling as well. Like, can you? I mean, that's another. I have been speaking to the Sharia team as well.
Those ethical issues, will there be even conventional banks? The issues you're talking about, that you build such nice incentives on sales that people want to do it, and they will cross ethical or appropriate boundaries. So they might sell products which are not appropriate, which are not suitable, which are not appropriate for a customer, just to meet their budgets and to get the bonus or to get the return or get an incentive. They might do that. So that issue is going to be there in commercial bank as well. Islamic Bank will be very on the back foot on that. So, I mean, in generally what I've seen in Islamic banks, incentives are very low or non-existent. So, you don't really incentivize.
For cross-selling especially.
For cross-selling. You don't do campaigns.
Okay.
So, you will not do a campaign, you will not do an incentive. You will do a campaign. Not do, what I'm saying is maybe you do one in 2 years, or maybe you do. It's not a regular part of your everyday thing. It's not like every second, third, fourth month, one new campaign is running. So, I used to work for a conventional bank. They used to have, this month the campaign for CASA is running. This month the campaign for bank assurance is running. I mean, they do it, but to a much lesser extent. It's not really, they are probably because of the same ethical issues, that they don't want to really focus on that.
So anyways, thank you. I will move to the next question. I think I'm already at the end of it. So in your opinion, what are the factors that promote or inhibits the cross-selling within the Islamic financial service industry? I mean, do you think there are any other factors that can, cause an hindrance
I think to a certain extent there are two things that I come across, which I think a lot of people don't consider Islamic banks as truly being Islamic.
Okay.
It's a lack of education. A lot of people don't know about Islam. Honestly, a lot of people. The truth of the matter is, a lot of people do not understand Islam.
Islam or Islamic banking?
They don't understand Islam and Islamic banking are.
Yeah. So
because they don't. No normal person on the street is not a scholar on Islam or Sharia or Sharia rules. He might not know how the Prophet conducted his life. He might know some things, but he will only know from what he has learned. Islamic education, it's there. I have done Islamic education, but my Islamic education, the thing that I've done in my schooling years, never talked about Islamic banking.
Yeah.
There was no concept. I never knew what commodity muraba is. I never knew what forward sale is. I never knew what FX Baad is, right? So I have done Islamic education in my college years. I did a BS in computer science. I've done a course in Islamic education there, but they never talked about these things, right? So how do you expect a common man who might not have a degree education, who might not have a master's degree, to know about this? No, he will not know about it. My mother, my father have no clue. They're very learned people. They're very well educated, but have no clue about what Islamic banking is.
So are you suggesting that one of the hindrances to the growth of cross-selling,
people don't believe it's really Islamic banking? So a lot of people. So
it's basically the unawareness of banking literacy.
Yeah, they don't believe this is. They don't believe that it is truly Sharia compliant.
Okay.
So let's say if a person.
And why do they not?
Let's say if a person does not use banks or credit cards because of riba reasons.
Yeah.
I don't want to take a car loan. I don't want to take a credit card. I don't want to take a mortgage because riba is involved. And I don't do that because riba is involved, right? That person. So Islamic bank is ideal for that person, but that person might not believe Islamic. This is to a certain extent in a certain segment of society, the people who are that religious that they don't use banks or financial services because of riba reasons. Because riba, obviously everybody knows riba is haram. They will not use Islamic banking because they might not use Islamic banking because it's the same thing. It's the same rate that you're charging me. These guys are charging me interest rate, you're charging profit rate, everything is the same. They don't understand the internal mortalities, what is the risk, what is the additional risk. It's an asset-based financing, it's not a financing. I'll give you an example. I have Islamic financing personally. I have Islamic home financing. The person who sold me that financing worked for a conventional bank which has Islamic window. So he had both the options. So he could have given me a conventional home finance, he could have given me Islamic home finance. The rates were the same. So the guy was not non-Muslim. So I asked him, what is the difference in the rates? He said, there is no difference. I said, so then it is a no-brainer. I will take the Islamic option. Even the person who was selling that product did not understand the product. So there are cases where you will see people. So don't expect a lot of people who go and sell Islamic products or even conventional products to understand them. They are going and selling a loan. They are going and selling a credit card. Sometimes they don't even understand what are the products. So the person, and I'm talking about, is a very smart person, very good salesman. He did not know the difference. What is the benefit of doing the Islamic one? When pricing was the same, for me Islamic was a no-brainer because the bank assumes a huge risk, where the bank assumes no risk on the conventional home finance. Conventional home finance, he lends me money. I have to give him back the money. That's it. Islamic home finance, he is the owner of the property. Tomorrow if the property is destroyed and the insurance does not pay, I have no liability.
Yeah, I mean, there's a risk, the ownership risk is there.
He assumes an enormous risk compared to conventional financing. People have no clue. I'm telling you an example that the person who's selling this product cannot articulate that benefit.
But they also hedge their, risks by other means, like by charging extra. Is that not the case?
No, this is what I'm telling you. In a scenario, I'm giving you a live scenario where the pricing is the same. In my opinion, the Islamic finance should be priced higher because there are additional risk. So Islamic financing should have carried a higher premium of pricing or some other fee that should cover that additional risk.
So, to confirm what you said.
So let's summarize this. Two issues. People perceive Islamic banking as conventional banking. They believe that it's not truly Islamic. A. So the people who are very stringent Islamic, very stringently follow Sharia, and they feel that we will not use financial service. They don't use financial services because of Sharia reasons or riba reasons. Sometimes a big subset of them will not go for Islamic banking because they will say that they don't believe it's truly Islamic because they just see the product on the outside, they see the rates, they see the pricing, and they compare it to conventional bank. This is the same thing.
There's a difference. I just want to clear here. First is they're not banking literates. Is that the case, or they're banking literates? They know everything, but they don't believe that.
No, they're
so is it the banking illiteracy, or is it the belief? What is it like?
It's more. I think it's more of a belief and a notion in your mind because you are banking literate, but then you don't understand the Islamic banking product internally, how it works. So you don't understand.
So it's banking illiteracy.
It's banking literacy, but I will say that the conventional products are easier to understand as well.
Okay. So because of the structure, Islamic products,
and you will not see the benefit that you are. What I'm telling you is they don't see what is the benefit. How is the Islamic product different? So they are not literate about Islamic banking. So they do not see how is the conventional financing, whereas Islamic ijara.
Yeah, so I think it's not a matter of belief; it's a matter of education.
Yeah,
it's like
education. So they don't know. So they've never heard these
banking
things.
literacy is not there. That's just because of the lack of banking literacy, they're not believing. So I think it's not the belief first, but it's the banking literacy thing.
I mean, then the notion comes, right, and beliefs are propagated. So, for example, if let's say I know 5 people in my family who say Islamic banking is the same thing as conventional banking.
Okay.
And I am sure they can't understand half the products. They're my elders, but this is their belief.
Okay.
They're not going to take the time. They don't take the time to learn how to use a smartphone. My father does not take the time to learn how to use a smartphone. He's not going to take the time to learn to use Islamic banking. He's in his 60s.